Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Wings can sign three-time WNBA All-Star to help Paige Bueckers. And yes, that is a picture of Kelsey Mitchell. It has started already. Now, I almost didn't do this, but look, this is not just some random bot on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it may be. This is an article written in Sports Illustrated, and they are already stoking the fire, stoking the flames, igniting the rumors about what is going to happen this offseason. And I thought, maybe I won't do this because, this is more like, oh, we hope this kind of happens from a Dallas Wings perspective, from a Paige Bueckers perspective. Again, hating on Caitlin Clark. But it got me to thinking about the offseason in general and what this means that I want to talk about a little bit. So, but what I find interesting when they talk about Kelsey Mitchell, because of course all the talk is about, Caitlin Clark dims her light, and so to speak, and they talk about the great season that Kelsey Mitchell had, and she did. And I say this every time in case for when I am critical of Kelsey Mitchell, that I've said repeatedly since what midseason last year that Kelsey Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the WNBA. I reiterate that now. I still think so. I think it was well deserved that she was first team all WNBA. She had an absolutely unbelievable season. Do I think she's an even better player if her and Caitlin Clark play together in a way that is complementary and benefits both of them? Yes, I do. Do I think one of Kelsey Mitchell's flaws is she has a tendency to get away from that and play hero ball too much? Sometimes it is needed. She is one of those players that is like, here's the ball, we need a bucket, go get your own shot, and she can make that happen. But she has some negatives too, as all players do. But what is wild about this is one of the reasons people talk a lot about, like, oh, Kelsey Mitchell needs to get away from Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell has to go, is that they talk about Kelsey Mitchell needs to be a number one option, or that Kelsey Mitchell wants to be a number one option. And she could be on a lot of teams. I think she's better being a number two option with Caitlin Clark. And that can switch. Sometimes it could be Aaliyah Boston. It depends on the type of offense they need to run or what's going well against whomever the opponent might be. But a lot of people from this perspective, and I'm not sure if it says it in this article, I can't remember, but a lot of people talk about, oh, Kelsey Mitchell wants to go because she needs to get away from Caitlin Clark to fully let her light shine. But here's the thing about that. If Kelsey Mitchell wants that, she's not going to Dallas to play with Paige Bueckers because she'd still be the number two option. Are you going to tell me that you think that Paige Bueckers is not going to be the number one option in Dallas for her entire career? Of course she is. And she will take her shots just like Caitlin Clark does, right? Paige Bueckers takes a lot of shots. Paige Bueckers became the number one option quickly. What was not a good fit was Arike and Paige Bueckers. 100% not a good fit for Dallas. But what I also want to get into, and this leads into that a little bit, is what is going to go on in general. Now, Kelsey Mitchell is a free agent again, obviously. I but here's the thing, a lot of players are free agents, and this is what is wild the offseason. Now they have to get the CBA done. But remember, two expansion teams coming, but it gets even trickier than that. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that teams can still protect six. I don't know, we don't have it yet what the rules are going to be. A lot of people are saying, oh, it might be fewer because you've got two teams, but man, only be able to protect four or five of your roster, that's kind of brutal because Golden State Valkyries are an anomaly. They are not, like, that's not supposed to happen. That is not normal. It shouldn't be the expectation that a expansion team can compete for a playoff spot in their first season. That's not how it's supposed to be. But you've got other couple things factoring in. You've got the fact that with the CBA, there may be a 14-player roster. And again, because of the CBA, you have a whole lot of veterans that are free agents. So then that's going to get tricky with both the rules of the expansion because there's, what was it last time? I think with Golden State it was like they can draft one free agent, or you can protect one free agent, or I forget exactly how it worked, but that's going to get tricky too because there enough players under contract that two expansion teams can draft and be sure that they have a roster? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if so many players are free agents, who are the expansion teams drafting from the current teams? I think the Fever, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I didn't look for it before this video because I didn't think I was actually going to go into this topic in as much detail. But I think the Fever might only have what, three or four players under contract. Like, it almost doesn't even matter in terms of the limit of what teams can protect or not, because a lot of teams might not even have six players that are under contract. So then it becomes, and that's where I said it gets tricky with the rules because are these two expansion teams going to have to draft a whole lot of free agents in order to fill out their roster? But there's no guarantee that they can sign those free agents. And what about teams protecting? I mean, if you only have four players under contract, I mean, you're protecting those four, and the rest it doesn't really matter, right? Because if they're taken, it's going to get tricky in terms of how that is going to work in order to fill out rosters. So that is going to have, and I want to circle back to this, that is going to have a huge impact on what Kelsey Mitchell does. Like it says here, it talks about her pairing with Paige Bueckers, but I got to tell you, if I'm a shooting guard, especially if I'm a shooting guard who has already experienced what I experienced last year with Caitlin Clark, why would I risk that to go play with Paige Bueckers? Because the only reason I can think to leave the Indiana Fever if you're Kelsey Mitchell is if you want to be the guaranteed number one option on a team. Like, your championship's not your number one priority. Being the number one option is your number one priority. You're not going to Dallas to be the number two option behind Paige Bueckers. Now, like it says here, the wings would immediately improve with Mitchell in the backcourt alongside Bueckers. Yeah, they would. But again, I don't know how that helps Kelsey Mitchell. Now, it is right. They say she'll have several suitors in free agency, and for sure, she can return to the Fever as well. The Wings should strongly consider offering a contract, especially with Enrique hitting free agency herself. And again, that goes back to what I'm saying about so many players being free agents. And I'm going to do another follow up on that. Like, I want to do a deep dive so you have an idea. And of course, I'll tailor it to the Fever because most of the people watching this who are basketball fans, if they're watching the WNBA, it's because they're Fever fans. But we'll get into who everybody has in terms of under contract and then who are all the free agents on. We'll get into, who might go where and all that stuff in another video. But they just made me think about with Kelsey Mitchell. I, I don't think that she would go to Dallas to be a number two option again. Like, because I can't think of any other reason why she would leave. If she wants to win a championship, she knows she has a great opportunity here, and she already knows how she fits in with Caitlin Clark and that she can shine with Caitlin Clark. Because last season, really pretty similar numbers to this season. And I thought she would get even better with Caitlin Clark. So, but it's going to be interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We did back past up 14,800 again. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't go back down as we creep to 15. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.